Hi, how's everybody doing? It's Paul from Magpie 24/7, back again with a view from the van, looking towards tomorrow's game at St James's Park. Can't wait to be there. It is, of course, Newcastle United against Spurs, and it has a huge sort of showdown feeling to it. Beat them and go 6 points clear with a game in hand, with games running out for this season. The season finishes next month. It is the business end of the season. And you still daren't dream or get too confident about Champions League football, but you've got to sort of consider yourself 1 foot in the Champions League qualification. If we are to get the result that we need, Manchester United, they've got a mountain injury list. Spurs, if we can beat them, they've got their injuries, they've got their internal Spurs type things happening, normal bottle job procedures at this time of the year for Spurs. But it isn't going to be an easy thing. I don't think, it's not going to be a case of just turning up, sticking a couple of goals past them. It is going to be a difficult game, no doubt about it. And of course, Newcastle United, we have to get to the top of our game. We can't afford to drop even a few percent off our top output, because we saw last time out against Aston Villa, if we don't turn up, if we don't play our best game, if we don't put it all on the line, if our intensity levels aren't where they need to be, then it will come and bite us in the arse. And that's certainly what happened last time out against Aston Villa, where we were the second best team in that encounter, as much as it pains me to say. With the history in between Newcastle United and Aston Villa, we were the second best in that game, and we got exactly out of that what we deserved, which is absolutely fuck all, to be honest. So we've got to make sure that we deserve the 3 points, and we get the 3 points this weekend at home. Looking at Spurs social media posts that they've put up recently, and some of the reaction from the Spurs fans, they are not relishing a trip up to St James's Park. It's a case of anybody but us at the moment. Last time out, it was very uncharacteristic. Eddie Howe touched upon that in his press conference. So normal service, please, to be resumed tomorrow. That would be fantastic. But to do that, to get the 3 points, and a massive 3 points it would be, we are going to have to be a heck of a lot better than what we were before. And back to, see your Manchester United at home performance. We need that sort of day, that sort of atmosphere in the ground. And although I think there'll be no issues with atmosphere in the ground, the fans understand the importance, the magnitude of the game. The War Flags display, which I've seen, the little sneak peeks and stuff the War Flags have put up, looks absolutely fantastic. Fantastic once again. The atmosphere, I've no doubt it'll be absolutely bouncing, absolutely rocking. And it's up to the lads to respond off that. And also, they've got to come out knowing that they need a response and a reply to the performance that they put in last weekend out. They should come out literally fucking pissing absolute fire. It needs to be from minute one, straight in their faces, straight at them. No slow start, no gifting the opposition absolutely easy, pathetic goals. Don't make anything easy for the opposition. The fans certainly won't. It's up to the players to put in an aggressive and channeled and focused performance from minute one right the way through. And if we do that, and we play to our very best, as we did against the likes of, say, Manchester United or something like that, then I am confident that we will come out with the victory, and that will put a huge dent in their aspirations for Champions League football. And don't get me wrong, we've still got some very difficult games to play between now and the end of the season. Teams at the bottom fighting for their lives, and we know what that is like. And then there's teams at the top who again are fighting for league titles. We've got teams at the top who are fighting for European qualification. We've still got to play the likes of Brighton. So again, I take nothing for granted whatsoever, to be honest. But it will feel like a massive step forward if we can get the points against Spurs. So we've got to take advantage. They're in a little bit of a moment, a little bit of a mess currently. Without a proper manager, there seems to be a little bit of, the inmates think they're in charge of the asylum going on there. You've then got somebody in charge of the football club who's he's a bit Simon Jordan. He's a bit in love with himself, isn't he? He likes the attention on himself. So it's all going wrong for Spurs. It's all going right, really, for Newcastle. What a fantastic season. 4 defeats in the league all season. And it's been great, you know, cup final, great football for the majority of it, and we've just got to now just sort of put the cherry on top of the cake. Regardless to whatever happens this season, I've really enjoyed this season. It's been great not to be fighting relegation. It's been great not to be looking over your shoulder all the time. But if we can just get that extra little push, that extra little bit, you know, an extra few, squeeze a few extra drops out of these lads in blood, sweat and tears, then to get the Champions League, it would be absolutely of being beyond any sane, normal, everyday Newcastle United fan at the beginning of the season. Nobody that I spoke to expected us to get anywhere near this. I think most people thought, look, if we can be comfortably within the, you know, the top 10, the top 8, if we can push to try and get into a European competition, that would be absolutely bloody fantastic. But it was with a realisation, you know, we were still in a process, you know, that we'd been explained to, look, it's going to take 4 or 5 years to even get back into regular European Truck Champions League qualification. So, you know, we were sitting there, we were patient with it, but the performances that Eddie Howe has got from these lads has been absolutely unbelievable, you know. We've still a large quantity of players left over from the previous regime, players that Steve Bruce had at his disposal, you know, players Mike Ashley bought through. Who could have thought that, you know, that bunch of players could have been moulding in such a way that, you know, now with a couple of quality additions in on top of it, we are talking about Champions League, and we are able to sit there and go, well, look, we're not going to be losing Bruno, because we're going to win the Champions League, the same with the other teams who are interested in them are going to win the Champions League, and we can offer the money, and we can offer the project and the vision, you know, and so on and so forth. It's unbelievable. But yes, it would, if we are able to get into this Champions League, push the project, push the time scales a lot more in our favour. And you can just, like I said, you turn up now, not just out of ritual. There is hope there. There's always hope. You always know, you know, never to give up on this team, never to give up on the ownership, never to give up on the club at all, because it's just, you know, they're capable of so much. But as for this weekend's game, it's not going to be helped by not having Alan Saint-Maximin again. Still in France, still, you know, coming back to fitness, which is frustrating, because, you know, it was believed that he'd be back on Tyneside early part of the week getting ready for this game, but as of yesterday he wasn't back in Tyneside, he wasn't back at Newcastle, and it looks more and more increasingly so that he won't be involved in this game, and that is a crying shame, because he is the sort of player that we definitely missed against Aston Villa. Somebody who can get the ball and take and carry it up the field and just create a moment of magic, create something out of nothing. That X factor, that difference maker, that needle mover. We missed him last time out, and I've just got a feeling that fit and firing Saint-Maximin, as he's been before he got this recent injury against Spurs and their fragile defence, would have been a major thumbs up, absolute major. But look, we've got players who have come in before and have not let the team down. We have got other options, and I think it'll be a time that Eddie Howe is looking at things and maybe will change 1 or 2 things up. So I'll get to what I think Eddie Howe will go with, basically. I mean, again, defence. Now, he hasn't, and he said this on umpteen occasions, he hasn't liked to have changed things, doesn't want to change things in the defence too much. It hasn't let them down. But last weekend I thought it did majorly let them down. Dan Burn has been spluttering over the past couple of weeks. His performances have been inconsistent. People have got round them far too easy. They've let too many crosses in from that side, and it just hasn't worked. However, I think he will rejig things back into the midfield area, so that it offers a little bit more protection on that side. And as much as I personally would like to see Matt Targett come back in, I think Dan Burn gets another game at left back. I really do. I think it'll be Nick Pope in goal, Dan Burn, Sven Botman, Fabian Schär, Kieran Trippier. It will be that defence. And I think there'll be a rejig in midfield to allow a little bit more protection, which is a system that's worked previously, which we've had to rejig over the last couple of weeks as there's been a few injuries and problems and suspensions and so on and so forth. But I think Joe Linton comes back over onto the left-hand side of the three-man central midfield, if you were. So you'll have Bruno, Joe Linton to the left, and Sean Longstaff on the right-hand side, who, once again, I think we saw the value of a Sean Longstaff in the last game in defeat. This lad, he covers every blade of grass, he gets over, he breaks things up, his work off the ball, his positionally is really good. Yes, he has limitations on the ball and going forward, but you need a combination of a bit of everything. And I think with Sean Longstaff in there, alongside Bruno Guimaraes, and also Joe Linton, offering that little bit more presence and physicality in midfield on that left-hand side, that works well and it protects more that left-hand side. Talking about the left-hand side, therefore, the midfield is going to have to, again, be looked at. No Saint-Maximin. Jacob Murphy's flattered to deceive in the last probably 2 games, despite the fact when he's come on previously or started previously, he's done really well, got crosses in and looked dangerous. I think Joe Willock on the left-hand side, because of that athleticism, because of the pace that he's got, because of the engine that he's got, because it's Spurs that he's playing against, as well as a Arsenal lad and Arsenal fan, I think it'll be him on the left-hand side. And on the right-hand side, I think he's going to stick with Anthony Gordon. The question mark, of course, would be, and should be, quite rightfully so, would you bring Miguel Almiron in? But he spoke about in his press conference that he hasn't trained fully all week. So does that err on the side of caution? Perhaps. I think it maybe does. So it's an either or really with Gordon or Miggy. I would like Miggy to be in because of the work rate, and he'll get back and he'll track and he'll have that level of intensity right from the off, which is, I think, something that we've been missing recently, again whilst he's been out of the team. But I've got a feeling he may start with Anthony Gordon on the right hand side, and he'll need a big performance because it's been hot and cold, inconsistent since he started. We've got Everton away as our next game on Thursday night. And he'll be desperate to be involved there, so the performance has to be absolutely A1. It has to be perfect for him to keep his players ahead of returning Miguel Almiron. So it's a bit of a toss-up between the two. I think he'll stick with Anthony Gordon, to be honest, but I personally obviously would like Miggy to come in. And then up top, now there's been a big question: would you have played Isak out on the left instead of Willock and then played Callum Wilson up top? I don't think he's going to do that because it doesn't give you another striking option on the bench to be able to change things round in the second half. So I've got a distinct feeling that he's going to just play the one up top, and I think he will start with Callum Wilson. I think he will start with Callum Wilson. Isak will be on the bench, and then as the game goes on, if we need a goal, if we're behind in the game, if it's a draw, after 60-65 minutes, he may well bring on Isak for whoever is playing out on the left hand side and change it up that way. If we are ahead, I don't know, say it's 2-0 to Newcastle at that time, he may just decide to bring Isak on for Wilson as a straight swap, because what he's not wanting to do is risk injury. We haven't got an abundance of riches up the top, so I think he's carefully managing his strikers, especially given the fact that Saint-Maximin is continuously unavailable, hamstring strains. Callum Wilson is also a little bit suspect when it comes to injury, so I think he's been really, really careful to manage the players that he's got, because we need players we need players there, fit and available, ready to come in, ready to do a job to get us over the line. We can't afford to go gung-ho and then to lose players for the rest of the season and leave us short and to be caught with our pants down. We can't afford ourselves to be in that position. So for that reason, I think he's going to play one over the other, and given games recently and everything, I just got a feeling that Callum Wilson, his physicality, the fact he can act as a bit of a battering ram, a focus point to be able to aim at and to get the players out. If we push a little bit, he can knock that ball long. He will run into the channels. He will act as the target man. He will knock the ball down. The ball will stick to him. He will find midfield options. Bruno breaking, Joe Willock, Anthony Gordon or Miggy, depending upon who starts on that side. He will find players. He'll not waste much, and he'll run himself into the ground. And then I think the idea will be to bring on Isak in the second half. And just as Spurs' legs are starting to get a bit tired, hopefully we're ahead in that stage of the game. You're bringing on Isak, and he's running at you, and he's fresh, and you're tired, and hopefully that might then result in further goals as the game goes on. I think that would be the ideal, the sort of way of thinking for Eddie Howe in this game. But just fingers crossed, no injuries, and that we get the 3 points, because it really does put the cat amongst the pigeons, as it were. And with other teams, other clubs like Aston Villa, like Brighton, breathing down our necks, we can't afford to take our foot off the pedal. Yeah, we cannot afford to do that. So rocking atmosphere at St James's Park, 3 points, hopefully a lot of happy faces afterwards, and one step closer to Champions League football. Unfucking believable. Cannot wait. I mean, any European nights are special. I can remember those nights, from years and decades gone by. They are special. They are different, and I can't wait to see Newcastle United up against some of the really heavyweight European teams, your Milans of the world, your PSGs, your Real Madrids, your Spanish clubs. I want that journey. I want to see us challenge ourselves, and I also want to see how Champions League qualification so soon and so quickly, how that helps with rebuilding the squad, because there's no doubt about it, we've got a cracking first 11, but it will be about the squad. The squad will need improving, it will need bulking up. Some difficult decisions against some players who have been very good for Newcastle will need to be had to beef out that squad, so that we can rotate, so that we don't have to play the same players all the time. We need to be able to manage fitness for the likes of, say, your Saint-Maximins of the world. We're going to have quality of equal or better to be able to come in for certain games and then take players out for certain games. So that will be very interesting with regards to the transfer window in this summer, and Newcastle United have been really, really active in that market. Speculation or mania at the moment, it's literally everywhere. It's rife at the moment. It's certainly better than what it used to be, because I mean, under Ashley, you knew that we weren't signing any fucker. It was bargain basement. It was loans. We couldn't even afford the loan fee for fucking Chowdhury, could we? Fucking not West Ham, Leicester. Don't know where West Ham came from. So now we know we've got the money. We know we've got the owners who are committed and have ambition, who want the best for the club. It's absolutely fantastic. Speaking about the club, just touching on quickly, another planning application's gone in, more work at the training ground, and this is what I'm on about. It's just such an exciting time. Everywhere you look at the club, things are happening. It's exciting times. The training ground has had already one extension. Second application's gone in. St James's Park, we've bought back the land on about fan zones. We're on about hotels. We're on about extending the Gallagher end. We're on about new food and drink, in the concourses. Work at St James's Park over the summer, safe standing areas, transfers. We're being linked with some absolutely fantastic players. We've got scouts all over. Steve Nixon has been in Brazil for a couple of weeks recently, scouting out players, looking at new players and stuff. No matter where you look, connected to Newcastle United, there is excitement, there is activity, there is positivity, there is hope. And it is great as a fan. All these years they've shit under Mike Ashley and fucking Lee Charnley and his fucking slip-on shoes. It is great, and it is great to be this balls deep in the fucking Champions League conversation. Yeah, the season finishes at the end of next month, and we are talking about top tier European qualification, while some of the others are sort of sitting there, your Liverpools, your Chelseas of the world, and then they're sat there And for so long, like I say, it's been a procession for this lot. It's always been an expectation. Well, we just qualify anyway for the Champions League. And teams like Aston Villa, teams like Brighton, teams like Newcastle United, shaking stuff up, stirring things up. Even Brentford, literally sorting out the old status quo of how things used to be. It is such an exciting time for the Premier League. No doubt the likes of Sky and stuff. No wonder they camped out to St James's Park all the fucking time, because it's all kicking off, all the drama, all the action. It writes its bloody self, it really does. So yeah, massive game this weekend for us. We'll be back with a review. We'll also have all of the footage from inside the ground, trying to sample the atmosphere, the pre-match and after game, the atmosphere around the ground. So join us back for that. Click like, hit the thumbs up, it does help us out massively. Like I said on previous videos, we really appreciate everything that you have all done to get Magpie 24/7 to where it is at the moment. 109,000 subscribers. We are really trying to push the YouTube side of it, so if you can hit the subscribe button, that'll be great. Like I said, we'll be back with a review. I have all the footage from inside St James's Park down at the Gallagher end. And then yeah, we move onwards and look towards Everton. So we'll be back straight away after that with a preview for the Everton game, and so on and so forth. Exciting times for Newcastle United. Can't wait for tomorrow. Better get back to graft, get some work done now, so that I can get up and get to St James's Park in very good time for tomorrow's game. Hopefully 3 points. Personally, I've got quite confident for this game. I think we start with the intensity, we start with the right attitude, get an early goal, not the stuffing out of them, and it's a nice 3-1 day for Newcastle United. That would be absolutely great. And Spurs fans can continue to do what Spurs fans always done with their club, and it's just bottling it. It's bottling it, isn't it? Unfortunately for them lot, deep in the red. Potentially no Champions League money. Could be a very interesting summer for them as well. Certainly as well with the likes of Harry Kane possibly moving on and stuff. Not a player that I think we would go for. We're looking for the more younger, up and coming, hungry type players. Your Bruno Guimaraes, Mark, everywhere. Yeah, that's the blueprint, that's the ideal, isn't it? Having all these Brunos and the likes about. So yeah, looking forward to the game. Might see you up there, around, out and about. And in the meantime, take care, keep it tuned, and I'll speak to you later.